easy. Okay, so if you're watching this live stream after the fact, no, it won't have like a super unified theme. I do want to talk about our TBR shelves at the beginning, just to I'm curious to hear where you guys are all at with that. Um, but after that, I think we'll do some Q&A stuff. We'll do some. I'll show you guys what I've been working on for the next YouTube video. We already kind of talked about this a few weeks ago, but I'll show you kind of where I'm at. Partly because I want I'd love to get your advice on where to go with it. But before we get into it, I am going to invite everybody on what's that thing called? Discord. I'm gonna go invite people on Discord. And so yeah. So again, if you are watching later, go ahead and skip ahead. This is gonna be the boring part where I just make sure that everybody knows that that things are live. So let me pop in. And I know if I were a better streamer, I'd be doing this all. I'd be doing this all beforehand, but I can't today. I don't have the energy to be a good streamer today. Oh, let's see. Live stream alert. Yeah. Okay. So now that's done, people can join in should they so choose. Where did I go? Where's my face? There's my face. Happy Friday, Todd. Hey, it's good to see you. Glad you're here. Linnea, really glad you're here. Yay Friday. It is Yay Friday. This isn't the last thing that I have to do every Friday, but it's pretty close. And do I have to do it or do I get to do it? Yeah, we can get into the semantics of that. But no, yeah, the weekend is almost here, and it's been a heck of a week. It's all, it's that hangover from the first week back from the holidays, right? So, anyway, I will be honest though. I do a lot of stuff, I have a lot of different types of tasks and whatnot that I do for work. But live streams are, how should I put this? Sitting in front of a camera talking to you guys is among the easiest and most joyful things that I do. Like I said, I could put a lot more work into this and make it a lot better and more entertaining and all that stuff. But at the very least, sitting down talking to you guys is delightful. So yeah, that's true. Okay, sorry. Josh says yay Friday unless you work Saturdays. But the thing is, I think not everybody. Some people work 6 days a week. Some people work 7 days a week. I pity you if you do. That is not fun. Been there. But like my friends down at my favorite brewery, they don't necessarily have the weekend, but they have a weekend, right? So some people's schedules have them off on Mondays and Tuesdays or whatever. And so whatever your weekend is, I hope you enjoy it. Hi, Little Red. Murph, welcome back. Murph, wait, Murph, are you the one that got drunk and got on Discord and yelled suggestions to me? I want everybody to do this. It was delightful. It was great fun. Oh, hey, Yeti Beats. All right. I'm going with, do we go full Matthew Alexander or do we go Matt Alex? I'm going to go Matt Alex. Now we have another Alex. Yeah. A lot of people work Saturdays, and I shouldn't minimize that. But for those of us who don't, it is Friday is exciting. So, Lady Sweden, there you go. Maybe Murph got drunk and got on Discord, which again is what I want people to do. Salam alaikum. All right. I hope I'm saying that right and appropriately, but whatever. We do what we can. Okay, so TBR shelves. First of all, there's the one that you guys know. Let's talk about what's on my shelf, and then I want to hear what's on yours. Am I going to do bingo with us this year? You'll have to tell me more about that. So type that out while I do this. You guys know about this. We're doing Joe Abercrombie. This is book 2. And I do have a question about this. Okay, so I don't know what we're supposed to record, I think tomorrow night, and I am, oh gosh, I think we have to read half the book, and I've got like that much, so I've got some reading to do. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was. You look at this on the shelf, like with the other two in the trilogy, and it's become an ultra predictable thing. If you look at your bookshelf and look at all of the series, the trilogies, the series, the whatever, it is, it seems like almost an iron law of fantasy fiction that the books get longer as the series goes. I'm curious, are there series that you guys know about that are there series that you guys know about that don't follow this rule? And should I wish the way that I do that they didn't follow this rule? um, does that make sense? You know, it kind of frustrates me. It's like I kind of get the idea is like, okay, you've sucked them in and now you can like really expand the world and tell a bigger story and have longer books and all that stuff. But you know, as I look at doorstopper after doorstopper, it gets a little frustrating at times. Oh no, 260 unread books. So I love this. Laugh at me and then say that was great for the comedic value. That's what I'm here for. No, I was taught a few phrases here and there when I lived in France, and spent a lot of time with some of the Arab population there. Just that was kind of like, yeah, daily. I'd spend a lot of time with them, and so they teach me a few phrases. But it's been over a decade now. Gosh, it's been 15 years. 15 years. Amazing. Chad's first time here. Get the hardcovers. These, you can't get the hardcovers anymore. They are, I mean, I'm sure you could like get them for copious amounts of money on eBay, but they are not readily available at the moment, which does make me sad. All right, I'll show you guys another book. This is not, it was on my TBR pile, and then I picked it up and laughed so hard at the first page I turned to that I'm not going to read the book. I'll show you in just a second. Let me see what you guys have to say about this. Alloy of Law is shorter than Mistborn. Ha ha ha. If it counts as a trilogy, doesn't Lord of the Rings get shorter? It does. I don't count it as a trilogy, but I suppose you could. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And that's true. That's a good point. The Five Gods. Oh, I don't know that one. I remember reading the Ender Shadow series back in the day, years and years ago, and I wonder if this is part of it. But I read Shadow of what's it called? Ender Shadow. Loved it. Amazing book. Possibly better than Ender's Game, but it's been too long for me to for sure make that judgment. And then I read the second book in the series, and then oh no, sorry. This is the second trilogy or second series in the Ender series. My mistake. Xenocide is book 3, right? So you have, what's it called? Ender's Game, followed Speaker for the Dead, and then Xenocide, and then whatever the fourth one is. And I never got to the fourth one because Xenocide, by the time I finished it, I was exhausted. Maybe this is why. See, the Thrawn Saga? Oh, interesting. I've got those over there. I'm not so sure. Maybe. I'll have to stack them up next to each other, but it's possible. All right. I tend to think something went wrong if the series doesn't get longer with each installment. I have no idea why. It's the same thing. Like, my snap judgment on the books getting longer is perfectly unfair, but we still have them. So, all right. Liam says I can get the hardcover from the UK. Now we're talking. Okay. Oh, is this true? If I remember correctly, books in the Earthsea series get shorter, which would be amazing because the first book is very short. Well, at least to a fantasy reader, it feels very short. Wheel of Time ebbs and flows and lengths. That's true, I suppose. That's true. I guess when you're talking about 15 books, some of those conventional rules aren't going to quite apply. And it is notable that with the Wheel of Time, it's like the moment Sanderson got involved, it went from 1 book to 3 books, and all 3 of those books are monsters. So yeah, that's a whole thing. Let's see. Oh my gosh, you guys. Sorry, I had to take a quick break because I just got a text from Ryan. I don't think he'll mind me sharing this with you. He says, the John Wick series is the most ridiculous and hyper-violent thing I've ever watched, and I love it. Just finished chapter 2. Oh, Ryan is on a journey. Oh, man. I love that. I love that. Okay, so here is a book that I was gifted for Christmas, but to be fair to the person who gifted it to me, I don't think that they were. I think they were trying to make more of a statement about my personality or my interests, I suppose, than they were trying to give me a book that I would really like. But still. Okay, so this is the book, 1,200 Words You Should Know to Sound Smart by Robert W. Bly. And I was like, I kind of feel like I recognize that name, but maybe not. I can't remember. Let me read to you who wrote this book. I love this so much. Okay, so first of all, I guess you can understand why somebody would get me this. You know, I studied linguistics. I love etymology, and so that kind of lexicographical stuff is all up my alley. So somebody sees this at the 75% off bargain bin at Barnes and Noble. They're like, let's get it for Craig. Okay, no problem. That's fine. But here's the person who wrote this. Robert W. Bly is a professional writer and self-made millionaire. And that's where I go, all right, I'm out. It's like, my general rule, and it has been broken a few times, but my general rule is that like that's the kind of thing where if you see somebody's like tagline, on LinkedIn or a dating app or whatever, like if they label themselves as I'm an entrepreneur, I'm just like, I'm out. That, like I said, that has been broken a few times. The guy that I do the trucking podcast with is a thoroughgoing entrepreneur, and happens to be a really nice guy, a really great guy. So I know that it's not fair, but that kind of thing, like, oh, I'm a self-made millionaire. That's why you know that I'm qualified to write this book. It's like, F off. So anyway, but I got the book, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it'll be a bathroom book or something. So I just opened it up randomly to a page. Take the bookmark out. I opened it randomly to a page, and came to and I'm not kidding. This is the first word that I looked at in the entire book, and it is magnanimous. Magnanimous, adjective. And here's the definition. A kind and generous act. Really? So how smart are we sounding if we're labeling adjectives, or if we're giving adjectives the definition of a noun? Anyway, so I got a kick out of this one. It's really funny. I should look through more of it and see what else I can find, but I haven't been able to bring myself to. So if anybody wants this, maybe I'll send it to you. I'm not sure I want it. All right, so that's let's see, that's a couple of things on my shelf at the moment. I'm also reading this. This one, it's like a coffee table book, the world's best ciders, and it goes through basically every continent, every major cider and minor cider producing location, it seems like. And it's a subject that I want to learn more about, and so it's a coffee table book. It's not one that I'm like reading cover to cover and trying to use it as a textbook, but it's at least interesting to get a taste, so to speak, of a subject that I'm interested in. And then let's see, I haven't started it yet, so we'll see how it goes. But in reading, so as you guys probably know, I read a lot of political books, and I read a lot of magazines and newspapers and all that stuff. And there's a name that I kept hearing quoted all the time, Deirdre McCloskey. And so I finally got a Deirdre McCloskey book, Why Liberalism Works. How True Liberal Values
produce a freer, more equal, prosperous world for all. And it's like a collection of her essays from the last 20, 25 years. So we'll see how that one goes. But I love hearing different people's definitions of a really basic word or concept or something we think is basic, like liberalism. What does Deirdre McCloskey think liberalism is, and why does she think it works? So anyway, so that should be an interesting one. That's what's on my shelf right now. I'm curious to hear about yours. So yeah, let me have it. Let me hear what you guys are reading and what you want to be reading. Let's see what. I know you said it. Was it? No, you're which. Which one are you? Yeti Beats. Yeah, Yeti Beats. Okay. Yeah, Yeti Beats likes the ciders. I love cider if it's done well. It's one of those things. Well, I mean, I guess it's like anything else. If it's not done well, it's just not good. So like there can be some pretty bad ciders. But if it's done well, oh man, Heroes Die, pretty good so far. I don't know. I need more information before I answer this. Did I do bingo at some point? Did I do that last year? Send me a DM on what's that thing called? Discord. Let me know what you mean. Let's see. Lightning Tiger, reading the Silmarillion and Pride and Prejudice. Kind of thinking that might have been a bad idea to do at the same time. No. They match up perfectly. I love this. I think that's fantastic. And honestly, Pride and Prejudice is one of those books. I haven't read it since I was late teenager. And so I couldn't recount hardly anything about it. But I remember really liking it. Even at that age, as a teenage boy who's not supposed to like Pride and Prejudice, but I thought it was great. But from my recollection, it does seem like one of those books that it's never a bad idea to be reading it. It's great. So even if you're, it's a break from the Silmarillion. You go from macro interpersonal problems to micro interpersonal problems. Let's see, Nano Tyrannus. Currently reading The Witchwood Crown from the sequel series to Tad Williams' Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, starting Sun Eater this month. Wow. Okay, that was so many proper nouns. The Witchwood Crown from the sequel series to Tad Williams' Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. Okay, all right. And are you enjoying it? The world needs to know. I need to know. Who cares what the world thinks? Upgrade by Blake Crouch. Limitless meets gene editing and hacking. Ooh, interesting. Upgrade. Wait, I think I've heard of this one. Let me look up the cover. Blake Crouch. Yeah. Isn't... Oh, this is brand new. Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I probably wasn't thinking of that. That's cool. You wrote about it in chat. Okay, good to know. The Spear Cuts Water, Jonathan Strange, and March to the Sea. I know one of those things. Yeah, there you go. Oh boy, StarCast, currently reading the 5th season. I'm planning to read a lot of horror fantasy this year. Oh, that's interesting. That'll be cool to hear if there are any highlights throughout the year or at the end of the year on Discord if you pop in there. Let us know if anything really jumped out. I count on you guys to wade through stuff to tell me what's good. Let's see. Oh, what is this? The Spear Cuts Through Water. It's the second time I've seen this now, and I'm not sure I've heard of it. Started Secret Project 1. We should probably cover that on the show at some point, maybe. Love it. Yeah, Tress was the I only did beta for one of the secret projects, and it was Tress. And so I have not yet finished the new version, the published version. I hear the ending is quite different, which is cool. It'll be cool to see the changes. But I loved it reading it through the first time. I knew that when you guys were gonna get, what's that one called that we just did? The Lost Metal. You guys got the Lost Metal in November, and then Tress in January, and it's just like it's the 1-2 punch of Cosmere stuff, and I assume that a lot of people are freaking out about stuff now with Tress. So, oh yeah, Tress when the physical copy arrives. Okay, yeah, that's not a bad way to do it. Some people just prefer to not do it digitally. That's great. Let's see. Currently reading a bunch of short stories from the LeVar Burton Reads podcast. Oh, nice. That's fun. Some really good ones. Kin by Bruce McAllister. Okay, nice. Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. I only saw it. So on my little thing over here, I can kind of see I can preview the comments before I put them on screen. And it broke the line after memory. So I thought you said currently reading first book from memory. And I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Did you know Jorge Luis Borges, the Argentinian writer, he specialized in short stories, partly because he was really good at those, but also partly because he was blind and would compose stories only in his head. And then he would dictate those stories to somebody to, have them type it out. And so I suppose it could be done. If you can write a book from memory, you can read a book from memory. So there you go. All right. Hey, Casey, glad you're here. I know I'm behind. Sorry, guys. I'll try to catch up. Let's see. Paxenarian by Elizabeth Moon. All right. Marketing for The Spear Cuts Through Water was very good. Yeah, that's isn't that funny how that's the way it goes? It's sometimes it's very bottom up, like the people fetch happen, so to speak. They make some book really big just by word of mouth, and then sometimes it's like the publisher believes in something so much that they, from the top down, they're just like, you will want to read this book, and everybody's like, yeah, I do. And I do that too sometimes. But yeah, you guys let me know if for anybody who has read it or is reading it, if it holds up to the hype. Let's see. A very melancholic ending to the heart of what was lost. It had better be a melancholic ending. Melancholic. If it's called The Heart of What Was Lost. Yeah, that's not a happy ending title. Okay. Ooh, just finished Tawny Man and loved it. That's been very much demanded of us that we read Tawny Man. We'll see. Okay, let's see. Iridandus all forced us to read Spear Cuts Through Water. That's nice. Nice. Planning on reading more Gene Wolfe. Currently reading The Fifth Head of Cerberus after your podcast episode. That's what I like to hear. I hope you enjoy it. That one was I still don't know if I love it, but reading Gene Wolfe is just it's exposure to a different type of style than what I tend to gravitate toward. And I love getting exposure to those sorts of things. So I loved reading it from that perspective, if that makes sense. Even though the jury's still out, and I need to finish the other two short stories in the novel, if we're calling it that. I need to finish the second and third ones to decide how I feel about it for sure. But I really enjoyed reading the first part. Let's see. I'm also going off and on with Rhythm of War, so I want to get to Lost Metal and the first secret project, taking my time. Yeah. Rhythm of War. I did not beta Rhythm of War. No, that's what it was. I didn't beta that one. I got the advanced review copy. I think Ryan got one too, but we got it like a week before we had to do the episode. And so, reading a book that size in a week, for some of you, is easy. For me, I tend to be a slower, more deliberate reader. And so, a week is a pretty quick turnaround for a book that size. But then you add on top of that, having to take notes and prepare for an episode. And that was so stressful. So when you say going off and on with Rhythm of War, that sounds nice. That was a lot of book to try to get through. Let's see. 3 cheers for short stories. Hey, I hope you guys liked that episode that I just put out with trying to get her name here so I make sure I don't mess it up. That's right, Mary Rickert, or M. Rickert as she's called in most of her publishing apparently. Anyway, it was I thought a really interesting conversation, but she talks much more slowly and thinks much harder about her answers than I think a lot of people do, which meant that her answers were I thought really interesting. But the delivery, I know I've gotten some feedback that it was a more boring podcast than some of the other ones. But I quite liked her, and she was lovely. She was a lovely person to chat with. So sorry, now I know I'm behind because it was a few minutes ago. What was I used that earlier today, and I can't remember what it was about. But Mean Girls, definitely one of the most quotable and useful movies ever made. Let's see. Oh, that's fun. Laura Ingalls Wilder's Little House novels. They're charming and great. I'm sure they are. I've never gotten into watching the shows or reading the books, but every Christmas Eve, except for this year because of all the airline fiascos that were happening, we didn't get to do it this year. But when we go to my in-laws for Christmas, they have a Christmas Eve tradition of watching the Little House on the Prairie Christmas episode. And it's just charming and lovely, and everybody cries. Anyway, so I have some familiarity. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Reading The Lost Metal without having read any other Cosmere. Are you on Discord? I know there was somebody doing that on Discord. Or I thought there was. Anyway, finding my reactions hilarious, and the Condor are disturbing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're disturbing no matter where you start with the series. But yeah, that's funny. Currently reading Book of the New Sun and Malazan, Book of the Fallen. Sorry, Malazan, Book of the Fallen. Whatever, Malazan. That's some hefty stuff. Neither of these have I read all the way through, but I've dipped into each, and kind of like Gene Wolfe, I was talking about earlier, the different styles. So now you've got Book of the New Sun plus Malazan. It's like two styles that epic fantasy readers don't often come across, and so yeah, that's a lot. Okay. Rhythm of War was my first Gamma. Oh, yeah, nice. Okay. I read Rhythm of War in 3 days. Yeah, that's... I suppose it's not incomprehensible for me to imagine sitting down and reading through the book in 3 days. I guess what makes it incomprehensible is the older I get, the busier I seem to get. And I'm sure a lot of you can sympathize. But now, especially since I went freelance, you'd think I'd have a bajillion hours of free time. I do not. So it's like work stuff, wife, kids, friends, trying to like maintain relationships and family and all that stuff. And so I guess that's what it is in part for me is, yeah, I'm not as fast a reader as some of you guys, but like, it just life makes me much slower maybe than it would. Okay. Oh, Deep Hole from Discord. Nice. Okay. It's on the IOL server. Okay. Nice. Book of the New Sun is amazing. Well, you should definitely, if you're not on the Inking Out Loud Discord server, then you definitely should be. Because, obviously be on ours too, but I know Drew is just hugely a fan of Book of the New Sun. Let's see, Realm of the Elderlings, Malazan. Kind of feels like a bad idea to do both at the same time. I yeah. You're gonna want some. You know what? Do what Brandon Sanderson suggests and throw in some. Where's my guy? Where'd it go? Where's our Discworld? Terry Pratchett. There it is. Yeah. Yeah. He says put Terry Pratchett. Like if you have a TBR pile, then every book or two, just throw a Terry Pratchett in there as a palate cleanser or something that'll make you laugh and simultaneously make you despair and rejoice in human nature. And then you can go back. Okay. Ooh. Well, I'm glad you're here. Assassin Gamer 94 found the channel a couple days ago. Saw the Cosmere reading order one. It's a series I want to start. I don't know where to start, even after the stream. It's so my short answer for this, and you can go back to the stream, I guess. But my shorter answer for you right now is, if you are determined to give it a few books to see if you like it, start with Elantris and just do publication order. If you're not sure and you want to kind of dip your toe in the water and see if you like this Sanderson guy, then I would either start with The Emperor's Soul or the first Mistborn book. Probably, without knowing you and your preferences and all that stuff. There may be some other ways to go about it, but that's the short answer. Some people find Elantris to be the weaker in the series, but I love it. I think it's amazing. I adore that book. So, okay, oh my gosh, you guys are reading so many freaking books. So I'm gonna skip a whole bunch of stuff. Can't go wrong with some Pratchett. Please don't start with the Lost Metal. This person is crazy. Mistborn, Linnea wants Mistborn. Yeah. It's fair enough. Like I said, that's I can see it as the best place for a lot of people to start. Okay. Need to read my 2 owned Pratchett books. I have a few. I've got Hogfather, but oh no, sorry. I have Hogfather, but I haven't read it. We did it on the show, but it was Todd and Ken, etc. I think Megan was on that one. But I read The Truth with Brandon, and then we did Mort with Daniel Green. So I've read a little bit. I think I read one more. I can't remember which one. Okay. Yeah, I'd probably start with Elantris. Any thoughts on Skyward series? I'm a big sci-fi and Elite Dangerous fan. Many novels in that world. I don't know Elite Dangerous, so I can't comment on that. Skyward is it's not in the Cosmere. Okay, so it's totally separate. And a lot of people are loving that series. For me, it didn't quite grab me. Brandon's young adult novels are a special flavor, and it's not quite my flavor for the most part. But he writes them well. The characters are fun. It's what he calls it, like Top Gun meets How to Train Your Dragon. Like, that's fun. It's a great concept. But I wouldn't use his YA novels to gauge whether you like Brandon Sanderson, the Cosmere writer, just because he is a little bit different with those for the most part. Anyway. All right. This is the other one I was going to bring up. I just didn't want to complicate it too much. So I'd say, either do pub order and start with Elantris or start with Mistborn. But yeah, if you enjoy romance, Brandon flavored romance, which is to say, it's not a romance book per se. But there is a much more romantic flavor with one of the storylines in that. And so it's it is, and it's a really, really fun book. It's a really good book. I like that. So let's see. I'm restarting Assassin's Apprentice, but I'm doing everything this time. Oh, okay. So you dropped off after Assassin's Apprentice and didn't do Assassin's Apprentice and didn't do the other two. Let's see, Darren, what are you reading lately? What's something you definitely want to get to? I talked about this at the beginning of the stream. So You can always rewind after we're done with the stream and go back to that. But short answer is Joe Abercrombie, a book about cider, and a political book. So that's what I'm reading these days. Let's see. What do I definitely want to get to? I don't have any like burning TBR list items right now. I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough feeling for me. I don't operate the same way I think a lot of you guys do as far as ripping through a TBR pile. So let's see. An Elite Dangerous fan in the wild. Skyward One is pretty cool if you like ships. There's what was I going to say? Oh yeah. I think Skyward One is pretty cool if you like ships. The implication being that the series didn't hold up, which was kind of my experience. I lost interest somewhere in book 2. I finished the book, but I don't remember much about it because I was kind of mentally checked out. All right. Brandon flavored rum, which sounds disgusting. The jokes. Oh, the jokes. Okay. We'll leave it there. I'm thinking about checking out Three Body Problem. That is, so to answer Darren's question, what is something you want to get to this year? There's your answer. Three Body Problem. I got several chapters in. It's separated into parts. I think I finished the first part chronologically, and then it jumps ahead in time. So I finished that first part, but I think I was telling people in the last live stream I was doing that while I was working on a project out in the yard, and I finished the project and just kind of forgot to go back to the book. So it wasn't like, oh, this is boring, I'm not going to read it. Life circumstances meant that I left it behind, but I will get back to it. Here, real quick. I had the same response to Starsight, but Cytonic is great. Yeah, I haven't read it. Honestly, I haven't read it. Okay. Do you know if Blue Team will be able to return in 2023 in some way? It's a great question. Todd being in the kind of perpetual death throes of a PhD candidacy, it means that he is always busy. And, handing him a big old doorstopper to read is difficult to do. And so I don't know what Blue Team's year is going to look like. But they're a great combo. They're, he and Ken work well together. So, but it kind of just depends on, what they want to read and what they have time for. I don't know. I haven't talked to him about it in the last several weeks. So it's a good question. You can tag them on Discord. I think they have it downloaded still. If you tag them, that should break through any of the mutes that they have, unless they really muted the server. But anyway, so yeah, go ahead and ask them what they want to do. Now, don't pressure them though. That's the trick. Let's see. Find a sci-fi anthology and read through those book by book. See, and this could be good. I love the idea of them covering some shorter sci-fi. I think so too. What'd be fun is if, especially some like classic short sci-fi. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'll float that by him. At what page count does a book become a doorstopper? Oh boy. Well, that's tough to say. I don't think it's about page count. But word count, I would say anything over, I want to say, 200,000 words, maybe 250, something like that. So for reference, like the Lord of the Rings. Oh, this is so precarious. Okay. The Lord of the Rings looks like that, thick, and it is 385,000 words. I think that's just the main text. I don't think that's counting, you know, the stuff at the beginning and the end, the index and the introductions and all that stuff. You can see, like, this is why I don't like going by page count, because, like, before they were hanged is, so this is 1,000 pages. This is 570. But it looks, you know, it looks just as thick, or almost as thick. Anyway, so it all depends on how it's bound and how it's printed. So I think more like word count. So yeah, I don't know, 200, 225, 250, something like that. 250,000 words. So there you go. Yeah, how big's the door? There you go. Oh, Eric, our literalist. It's true. I do. Not down to the word, but it's something like that. It's something like 385. Do you guys want to see, by the way, what I've been working on with Lord of the Rings this week? I kind of wrestled around with how I wanted to approach that question that we brought up a few weeks ago. And the question was, does the Lord of the Rings get harder to read as you go? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's massive. So does the Lord of the Rings get more difficult as you go? I thought it was a fascinating question. And so here's what I'm doing. You guys are you're gonna see my notes. I'll show you my notes. They're a jumbled mess right now, but I'll still show it to you. And partly why I'm doing this is because I want to get your ideas if there are other factors you'd like me to consider. I can't do a ton, because with a YouTube video, we're going to want to keep this to 10 or 15 minutes and not do a giant hour-long seminar on all this stuff. But let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, yeah, here's this. Let's make it... Yeah, here we go. So does the Lord of the Rings get harder to read? So I pull up, let's see, page 152 in this book. So I find, let's do, there we go. So I find a paragraph like this one. The Bree hobbits were in fact friendly and inquisitive, and just go through and mark it up. I'm not doing a full-on, grammatical breakdown, but I'm looking at a few things that might affect the difficulty of that sentence. And I'm trying to decide if I'm going to throw punctuation in there. So you can see the things I'm looking at right here. The average words per sentence, the Germanic and Latinate split, and then SVO versus OVS clauses. So this would be subject, verb, object versus object, verb, subject. And there are other types of sentences out there, but those are the big two. And this English is an SVO language. Bradley kicked the ball, right? Bradley is your subject, kicked is your verb, and the ball is your object. That is natural. But we do sometimes flip things around for emphasis or for archaicisms or whatever. That's totally a word, by the way. Anyway, so these are the things I'm looking at. But even in that sentence, I don't want to go back to it. He has a few parentheticals in the middle of the paragraph, and they're fun parentheticals where he does some really cool parallelism with that. And so I'm trying to decide, do the parentheticals make it enough harder to read that I should be counting this? Is he going to be doing that later? It's tough to say. So, let's see. Anyway, let me know if there are any of you out there that have ideas for other factors you think I should consider. Let me know. But basically what I'm going to do is go through, so I figured out what I wanted to look at, and then I pulled a paragraph, and now it should be a little bit faster for me to pull 5 more paragraphs. 2 from toward the beginning of the book, This is page 152. I'll probably want to go back to like the page 30, 50-ish, somewhere in there. Get one from there, and then get a couple from the middle of the book and a couple from the end of the book, or close to the end, the climax of the book, and see what the differences are, if any. And see, if we can in some way measure the difficulty of the Lord of the Rings as we go. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm working on. And Lene is excited. Oh, it looks like you're talking about the Silmarillion. My baby. Okay, it's not my baby. One of the few that loves the Silmarillion. Well, you are in the right place, Assassin Gamer. We are not few around here. A lot of Silmarillion people around here. So, oh yeah, I'm not the first person to say so. Let's see. With Lord of the Rings, the language itself sort of becomes more archaic the further you get from the Shire, and reverts back at the very end. Yeah, that's the hypothesis, right? And there are specific instances where I know that's true. When the Riders of Rohan appear at Minas Tirith during the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, there's the moment when the Witch King confronts Gandalf. Old fool, do you not know death when you see it? Curse now and die in vain. Sentences like that where, he's obviously... die now and curse in vain. Where he's obviously going for one syllable Germanic words to like really punch up the point. But that's one line. Is that going to be the case in like your average descriptive paragraph? I don't know. So, maybe I'll take something from when Pippin is wandering around Minas Tirith and talking to other people. How will that compare to when Pippin is talking to people in the Shire or in Bree? So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Okay. Let's throw that down there. Okay. Oh, I am here with you, Lady Sweden. With all books, I find it takes me a while to get used to an author's writing style and word choices. That makes an increased difficulty in a book or series not be as noticeable to me. Oh, interesting. Okay, but maybe on a reread. Yeah, and this is also perhaps when we need a definition of harder. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, anyway, now you guys know what I'm working on. Oh yeah, that was Nick's, wasn't it? Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's a fascinating question, and it's one that you hear a lot of the same questions over and over again. And I'm sure that this channel would be a lot bigger if I would just kind of dig into the same questions that everybody else does. But I just don't have it in me, at least not frequently. Sometimes I'm sure, someday I'll do why didn't the Eagles take the hobbits to Mordor or something? But today is not that day. So I find questions like this one a lot more interesting. So yeah, I appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you guys watching. So thanks for hanging out for a few minutes today. I'll be back next week. Hopefully I can get this video out before our next live stream. I'd really like to do that. And then, hopefully I will also get a 10,000 subscriber live stream celebration going on here somewhat soon. I've got some ideas for it. Do some giveaways, hang out for a while. Anyway, all right, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next week.